Hi guys, recently I made this goat cheese ice cream and it was so good, really different, not sweet at all like you'd think from ice cream because it's actually meant to come with starters and savoury dishes. It's really sharp, it really tastes like goat's cheese, and I made it because I was really trying to capture that hot and cold mouthfeel that you often get with desserts. So you'll get that melting feeling when you eat it with something hot. Here I'm just serving it with my roast tomato and basil soup. I'll give the link to that recipe in the description below. And in my next video I'm going to show you 3 different ways on how you can use it. So start off with 400 grams of goat's cheese, and you're going to want to cut off just the very outer thin rind of each ring. I'd never normally do this because this rind is totally edible, but in an ice cream you want it to be really smooth without any bits in the end. When all the rind has been taken off the cheese, go ahead and slice it up as finely as you can. You want it to be as fine as possible because that'll help it to melt and dissolve more easily in the milk later, but it's kind of hard to do because this cheese all clumps together, but just do the best you can. Add all that goat's cheese to a bowl and set aside until later. After that, you're going to heat 250 milliliters of milk in a saucepan. Normally for sweet ice creams, I use 250 milliliters of milk and 125 milliliters of cream, but here I felt like the cheese was creamy enough to leave out the cream altogether. As that's heating, you're going to take a large bowl with 2 egg yolks, add a pinch of sea salt flakes. I'm using smoked sea salt here because it's all I have in the house, but regular sea salt flakes are perfect. Then whisk these together until all the salt is dissolved and incorporated and the yolks are lighter in colour and really fluffy and a lot thicker. And the time it takes for the milk to come to a gentle simmer is more than enough time for you to do this. You can see here that the milk has just been boiling, so you need to add it really slowly to the egg yolks, almost drop by drop, so that you won't scramble them. If you add all this hot milk in straight away, that's a lot of heat to be adding to raw egg yolks and they will scramble, so just gently whisk in the hot milk very slowly to combine. Just remember that a pan full of boiling milk holds an awful lot of heat, so add that heat in very gradually, drop by drop. Once all that's incorporated, transfer your custard mixture back to your saucepan and onto a really low heat. The lower the better here really, because while you want your eggs to cook so that the custard will thicken, you don't want them to cook so quickly because they'll scramble. Next, you're going to add in your crumbled goat's cheese, and you're going to have this under a really low heat. I actually turned this off and let the residual heat of the custard melt the cheese. Eventually I cracked the heat of the hob up to 1. You might be tempted to crank it up more so that the goat's cheese will melt quicker, but the higher the heat, the more likely it is that you'll scramble your eggs, so just the lower the better here. At the end of the day, if you're making homemade ice cream, you're not going to be doing it in a hurry anyway. This is always going to be a job that takes a long time. Though to help the curds of goat's cheese break up and melt more quickly, I switched from the wooden spoon back to the whisk. That's going to just help everything move along much more quickly. I know you're going to be tempted to crank the heat up to move the whole process along more quickly, but you should definitely check out my blog entry for this video. It's got a load of tips on how to make ice cream for the first time and things you should expect and what to do when you feel like your custard is starting to curdle. This took me probably about 30 minutes on the lowest heat of the hob for the custard to really thicken nicely. You'll know it's done when it's thick enough to coat the back of a wooden spoon, and when you drag your finger across it, it'll leave the spoon clean. Now you can add it to an ice cream maker if you have one. I don't, so I don't know if you need to let it cool first. So I'm going to show you how to make this the old-fashioned way. You can set your custard aside to let it cool first, or you can take your saucepan and sit it in a sink full of cold water and whisk it until it thickens and comes down to room temperature. Then pour the mixture into a freeze-proof container with a lid. Clamp the lid on and freeze it for at least an hour and a half. Check on it every so often, but you want to stop it when it gets really icy and slushy like this. Then just transfer it to the bowl of a food processor and blitz it all up until it's all really nice and smooth. If you don't have a food processor, you can use an immersion blender. That'll work just fine. Next, you're going to transfer the whole lot of your frozen custard back to your freezer bowl and give it at least 1 more hour of freezing. After another hour, take it out and you'll see that it'll be a lot more firm and solid. So give it 1 more blitz up in the processor or with the immersion blender to break up all of those ice crystals and give you the smoothest ice cream possible. If you feel like you might need to do this for a 3rd time, then just do it for a 3rd time. Then pour it back into its freezer container, clamp the lid on and freeze it for at least 4 hours, but preferably overnight. Stay tuned for the next video and I'll show you how these ice cream will go really well with this warm garlic mushroom salad, this warm pear and walnut salad, and these warm crostinis. There's roast pepper there and shallot marmalade. Thanks a million for watching, guys. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And I hope you understand what I mean when I talk about hot and cold mouth feeling. It's such a weird feeling. It feels really, really cool, and it's definitely unexpected in savoury dishes as well. In the description below, you'll find links to all my social media accounts, so check me out on that. And I'm also going to put in the link to the video where I made the roast tomato and basil soup that you're looking at. You'll find the link to the next video where you'll see 3 different ways on how to use goat's cheese ice cream, and you'll find a link to my blog where you'll find the full recipe for goat's cheese ice cream at www.monkeycook.org.